So in the Enlisted community, the term pay to win is thrown out a lot, in forums, videos, etc. Now it seems like the community has a new target for this term, and that's going to be the AS-44, a premium squad available to the Russians in the Battle of Berlin. What's up, scholars? It's your professor here, Enlightened Enlisted, and today I'm going to make a lot of people angry with this video, but honestly, I think this is a conversation we need to have objectively. And I ask that you watch this video to the very end before you leave a comment, and I do welcome your comments and I read all of them because I want to hear your thoughts, and I think discussing these things are the whole reason I started this channel as a whole. So let's look at the term pay to win. Pay to win means I pay money to have a distinct advantage over you who hasn't paid money at all. So do free-to-play Axis players have a distinct disadvantage to the AS-44 premium squad? The answer is simply no. The MP-43 is virtually the exact same weapon, which is available to all players on the Axis side. Now the lines get a little blurry here because you can't have the MP-43 unless you're level 32. So what about when a brand new Russian player comes into Berlin and then purchases the AS-44 and then goes up against mid-tier players that haven't unlocked the MP-43? This is an interesting point, and honestly I agree with it. It's pretty insane to me that a new player can purchase a weapon that suddenly has them competitive at a top tier level. And yes, I would say that it does give them a distinct advantage over players who have spent hours on hours playing this game and don't have the same unlock. But this doesn't really point to the AS-44 being a pay-to-win weapon. It points more to a problem with the progression system and matchmaking in Enlisted as a whole, both of which are something I have talked about extensively in all my other videos. The power creep in this game is a real thing, because if you really think about it, the disparity of firepower between a level 1 to a level 12 is the same as if a level 12 is going up against somebody that has purchased the AS-44. If you don't believe me, go try to take a KR-98 into Berlin right now when you're going up against PPSH squads. You just aren't going to be very successful. And you don't really see a lot of players complaining about the unlocks that they have on their side, like the FG-42 or the PPSH, etc. This is because the base player wants to have powerful unlocks as they grind out through the game. Which makes me wonder, are people actually mad that the AS-44 is so good, or are they just mad because it's undercutting their advantage over new players and they want them to suffer like they suffered through the grind? And it's because of this unbalance in the progression that we have such a retention problem with the Enlisted player base. I'm not going to go into how games are unbalanced based on how long you've played the game and the makeup of your team, because that could be a whole separate video. Again, I want to drive home the point that there is no difference in the disparity of firepower from a level 1 player buying the AS-44 to a new level 1 player going up against a level 32 player. So the pay to win argument just doesn't hold water with me. You're going to suffer as a mid-tier player who hasn't unlocked the counter for the squad for sure, but let's be honest, you're probably already suffering because the PPSH is dominating your MP-40 currently. So again, this is a balanced progression problem, not a weapon problem. Now another argument that I found more productive is the gun is a meta weapon that is behind a paywall for the Russian players. Here the community does have some traction, but let's look at what the AS-44 is. A fully automatic 30-round magazine-fed, hard-hitting, direct-fire, accurate rifle. So are there any weapons in the Battle of Berlin that the Russians can unlock that meet this description? Well, the answer is yes. There are actually 3 of them. They are not 100% similar, and they do have different pros and cons to them, which I will agree is a problem that the developers should really look into when adding these premium squads. But for a good player, these are almost the exact same weapon. The first one is the AVS-36, a mid-game unlock at level 21. It has better hitting power, the same rate of fire, more bullet velocity, and a faster reload time. These benefits come at the price of having a higher recoil pattern, and the weapon has half the magazine size. So it's not 100% the same, but they are similar. The second is the Fedorov. Again, better hitting power, slightly lower rate of fire, equal reload speed, and pretty much the same magazine size. But again, it does have a higher recoil pattern. So the Fedorov is not a laser at distance, but number 3 is. The PPSH has been a long-standing meta assaulter unlock for the Russians. With 3 less damage at 6.6, it makes up for it significantly with a higher rate of fire. It has 71 rounds in the drum mag, and it only takes 0.4 seconds longer to reload that thing. The PPSH also has a better recoil pattern. It has 8 less in vertical recoil, making the PPSH literally a laser at range. And if sights are a big thing for you, well, the PPSH and the AS-44 pretty much have the exact same sight picture. So again, I don't see the AS-44 being this meta takeover for the Russians. Sure, it's really good, and it does complement the PPSH a lot, but it's not the end-all be-all. Now, if you wanted to argue that there is a balance and difference between the 2 premium squads that you get with that bundle between the Axis and the Allies, then I would absolutely agree with you. The STG-45 is just not worth it. I think the AS-44 squad brought out some of the underlining issues the community has with premium squads. One, they're just just too expensive, and many of the earlier ones they first introduced became outdated as you went through the progression tree. The developers said that the premium squads were meant to help with the grind and nothing more, but this position seemed to be dropped when the firepower bundle came out, which honestly seems more pay to win than this premium bundle. And I don't think people talked about the problem with premium squads becoming more powerful with that squad because it was in the Moscow campaign and most of the veteran players had moved on to other campaigns. Plus, the MG13 and the Lewis gun were pretty similar. So we are seeing these shifts where the premium squads are not becoming obsolete later into the progression, and they're getting more and more powerful, especially when they have an engineer with them. So what do we do about this? Because on one hand, you need to make sure that the game is balanced. On the other hand, you need to make money, and you want to make these premium squads something that people are going to buy. And right now, the Enlisted developers are skirting that line where they're getting close to pay to win. It isn't there yet, and the AS-44 is definitely far from pay to win, but we need to be vocal about how we do not want things hidden behind paywalls. And that is something that I will always advocate, especially for you free-to-play players. That's the whole reason I started this channel, and that's the whole reason I play Enlisted, because I love the game and I love the community. Anyway, scholars, that's my TED Talk when it comes to pay to win and the AS-44. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video, and be sure to hit that like and subscribe button. As always, scholars, hit those books and hit those bottles. Cheers. I literally got killed by a plane hitting me.